Hello campers! I'm Elizabeth Bay and I am so excited to be sharing virtual Camp Laverne with you. Today I will be demonstrating leaf crayon rubbings and some ideas of how to use those for fun art projects. We're starting outside because we need to gather our resources and get our little bits of plants. So as I walk back inside, I'm going to grab some. Sadly, I do not have an assistant today, so I can't show you the gathering process. But things I want you to consider: the care of the plant itself. It's perfectly wonderful to use dried leaves that have already fallen. Consider also where you are, right? So up at camp, we'd have plenty of pine needles and leaves and things, bark to take rubbings of. These are the foothills. And you can focus more on oak trees and things. We've also got a sycamore and eucalyptus. Now, if you're in a more urban area or in the city, an option I'd like you to consider is maybe smelly plants. Stuff like rosemary, lavender, sage, especially if people are doing low water gardens, which is awesome. You might be able to find some of those things. And you can engage with maybe smaller plants that you can get to and discreetly and appropriately take small pieces of. All right, campers, let's head inside with some supplies. You want to have your paper that you can do your rubbings with. I did go ahead and make just a little book. It's very simple. Fold your paper into eighths. On the long direction, you take the top of two of those eighths, which ends up being, the top of four of them, and you just cut across a little bit across the top of those so that when you open it up, unfold it the right way, you can make yourself a little book. So just keep that in mind. Books kept me entertained a lot as a child. So that's something we're going to have with us. You want to have your crayons, big and little crayons, whatever makes you happy. An item you can add to the situation if it makes you happy is some watercolor for crayon watercolor resist. And then we have our leaves. I was able to get some great leaves. Some oak leaves of I don't know if it's a white oak or something. Then we've got our live oak leaves and some other things, but they're little. I also went ahead and got plants for my plant example, right? So my lavender, which smells lovely, and my rosemary, and I even thought maybe I should get some acacia and see what happens. And I got some dried up but still supple because I want to be able to get that fun texture. Sage leaves. Okay, now I've sorted through my crayons and I've pulled out some that give me an edge I can try to rub with because I think that'll be easier and give more definition. Now we want to get our plant in our working space. We want to get our paper over our plant, press that down pretty good, and then we want to rub our crayon over our plant such that we're highlighting the features of that plant. So I know I'm on mostly stem right now. Wonder what happens when I get to these leaves. All right, well, I do need two hands for this. So use your two hands and make your rubbing, and we'll come back and see what happens. So I did a sage leaf, and that was so thick it gave good margins around the edge. It's quite interesting. Then I did my plant. Now what I found with the plant is it's very thick. So you have to work pretty hard to get those edges, but when you do, they're very fun. I had fun around the leaves where I got my little leaf edges, and the flowers, super interesting with its little segments that show up in the rubbing. And then the oak leaf has a lovely look to it as well. It's more like the bottom. But yeah, there you go. Really go ahead and rub all around. Get your crayon all around. What's fun about your rubbings that you could maybe do in your book, but I unfortunately cannot show you, is you could do counting games like 1, 2, 3. Make counting pages, if you can tell that that's your third. So you could do stuff like that. and really get, you could make color wheels, you could make creatures like caterpillars out of your colored leaves, or, use eucalyptus leaves as peacock tail feathers. Who knows, but you can get very creative and enjoy making all the leaves you want. Oh yeah, and then you get your watercolor involved and make them underwater creatures. You could do whatever you want. Another option I want to share is you can do identification of your plants by gathering information about them this way. So if you can tell, these are actually 4 different types of leaves. So this, I think, is the live oak. This is, I don't know, white oak or something. This one is my scrub oak, I believe. And then this one, I cannot tell you. Oh, maybe that's my scrub oak, and that's I don't know. If you want to do identification, I recommend taking notes. Lots and lots of notes about the tops of leaf colors and the bottom of leaf colors. And I don't actually have fresh leaves, so I can't really make notes about that. But you wanna get the leaf information. You wanna get the bark information. So it might be worth a bark rubbing. Hopefully you can get better at doing them than me. But another thing where like the edge of a longer piece is probably a good idea. And you also want to really get that acorn information, because if you don't have those 3 pieces, I find it can be very difficult to figure out what you're doing with the different pieces. I wanted to bring you back outside to talk about these crayon rubbings as things that you can do to engage with plants around you. So one of the ideas I had was that you work with the plant and actually take note of your senses. So like, what do you see? And what do you smell? And how does it feel to touch? And what colors? And what are you hearing? I wonder if right now you could probably hear the freeway. Maybe you can hear the birds if I stay quiet. And if you use your little book, you could do a different thing you recognize on every page, if that is something that inspires you. I hope you remembered to consider the plant's needs as you collected your resources. I hope you enjoy whatever creation you make, and that you do whatever you feel compelled to do. I hope you enjoyed that. And I also want to thank you for spending some time with me in the spirit of Camp Verne. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!